Okay, so let's dive into this one. Royal Challengers Bengaluru, they got the win against Delhi Capitals.
They did.
And that win puts them right at the top of the IPL 2025 table. But looking at the scores, 165 for 4, chasing 162, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park.
No, absolutely not. Definitely wasn't a one-sided game. The match report we're looking at, it paints a picture of a real scrap, actually, especially on that pitch at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. Bit of a tricky surface, apparently.
Yeah, the report mentioned that. Two-paced.
Exactly. Ball gripping, sometimes staying low. So yeah, it wasn't your typical run fest. We saw some, individual flashes, but RCB just seemed to handle those conditions a bit better overall.
Right. So that's our mission for this deep dive then.
Yeah.
Let's really get into the weeds of this match, figure out how RCB pulled it off, what were the key moments, the key performances.
The tactics, maybe.
Exactly. The stuff beyond just the highlights reel. We want to understand what really swung it on that challenging pitch against a DC side that, well, they definitely put up a fight.
For sure. And that pitch context is key. It changes everything, doesn't it? How batsmen approach it, what bowlers need to do. Control becomes paramount.
Definitely. Okay, let's start with DC's innings. The report suggests kind of a weird inning shape, like explosive start, strong finish, but a real slow patch in the middle.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You had Abhishek Parel just, blasting off 28 from only 11 balls. Pure intent there.
Wow, quick fire.
And then right at the end, Tristan Stubbs, quite inventive, got 34 off 18. Really useful runs.
But the middle, that's where it gets interesting.
That's the story, isn't it?
Sure.
Between those two bursts, the report says the rest of the DC batters, they scored just 96 runs.
Off how many balls?
Off 92 balls. That's slow going at T20. You've got Faf du Plessis, Tom 2 off 26, KL Rahul, bit better with 41 off 39, but still.
Yeah, not exactly setting the world alight, especially when compared to Parel or Stubbs.
And on that kind of pitch, if you lose momentum like that in the middle overs, it puts immense pressure on the guys coming in later.
Yeah.
Really hard to suddenly accelerate.
Makes sense. And RCB's bowling must have played a big part in that squeeze, right?
Oh, absolutely. Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Josh Hazelwood, they were good up front, got those early breakthroughs.
Crucial.
Yeah. But the report really points to the spinners, Suyash Sharma and Krunal Pandya, as the ones who really tightened the screws in that middle phase.
How'd they do it? Just tight lines.
Mostly, yeah. Bowling with decent pace, into the pitch, not giving much width, making it hard for the batsmen to free their arms and find the boundaries. Very smart bowling for that surface.
And did that lead to wickets?
It did, at key times too. Hazelwood getting Axar Patel, that felt significant.
Ah, yes. Axar can be dangerous.
Especially against spin, yeah. He just hit Krunal for 6, looked like he might, counterattack, getting him then. Big relief for RCB.
Took the pressure off the spinners.
Exactly. And then Bhuvneshwar coming back later, getting KL Rahul in the 17th over. That really stalled things just when DC needed to push on.
And what about the impact player? DC brought in Ashutosh Sharma after Rahul got out.
They did, yeah. Looking for that late impetus, presumably.
Didn't quite work out, though.
No. Dismissed for a duck by Bhuvneshwar. That kind of thing. It could just suck the energy out of the dugout,
Yeah, a gamble that didn't pay off.
Right. Now, credit where it's due, Stubbs and Viprajani Gems did manage that little flurry at the end. 36 runs off just 12 balls. Clever batting, using the V behind the wicket.
But maybe too little, too late.
Felt like it. And Bhuvneshwar, despite the overrate penalty meaning an extra fielder, had to be inside the circle.
Which should help the batting side.
You'd think so, yeah. But he bowled a brilliant final over. Got Stubbs out, kept the total down. So DC got to 162, but you felt maybe they left 10, 15 runs out there because of that middle phase.
Okay, let's clip to RCB's chase then. It didn't start smoothly for them either, did it? Report says they were 26 for 3 inside 4 overs.
Oof. Yeah. That's trouble chasing anything, let alone on a tricky pitch. Real pressure straight away.
Any highlights in that early phase? Or just wickets falling?
Well, Jacob Bethel on debut, he showed a little something. Yeah. Hit a 6 and a 4 off back-to-back balls. Looked exciting for a moment.
But
then Axar Patel got him. And Axar he got devved at Padikkal too. Double strike.
So Axar causing problems with the ball now.
He was. And Karun Nair played a part too, didn't he? Took a really good catch to get rid of Bethel.
Right.
And then involved in that run out of Rajat Patidar. So yeah, RCB were definitely in a bit of bother early on.
But then the partnership. This is where the game really turned, wasn't it? Krunal Pandya and Virat Kohli.
Absolutely. From 26 for 3, they put on 119 for the 4th wicket.
Yeah.
That's a match-winning stand right there. Serious rebuilding job.
He needed that resilience.
Definitely. Though it's interesting, the report notes that the start of that partnership was actually quite slow.
Really?
Yeah, by the 10-over mark, they'd only put on about 40 runs and 36 balls together. Neither of them looked totally fluent initially. Shows how tough that pitch was playing.
But Crudell, he found another gear, didn't he? The report talks about a pretty dramatic shift.
It really does. He started, what, 17 off 21 balls? Something like that. Pretty watchful.
Okay.
But then he just exploded. Scored his next 56 runs off just 26 balls. That's a serious acceleration.
What changed? Was it a specific bowler he targeted, or?
Could be a mix of things, maybe just getting his eye in, feeling the pace.
Yeah.
The report mentions him hitting sixes off Kamira and Mukesh Kumar. And that lovely shot over long off against Kuldeep Yadav.
Yeah.
Maybe he just decided it was time to, take the game on. Calculated risks.
It shows good game awareness, adapting like that.
Definitely. And Kohli at the other end, well, he played a crucial role too. His sixth 50 of the season, another one in a chase, anchored it.
Though maybe not his most fluent innings either. 51 off 47 balls.
No, probably not. And the report even highlights a moment, a short ball from Nigam that apparently just died off the pitch. Lost all its pace. Tells you how unpredictable it was.
Right, so just grafting, finding a way.
Pretty much. He had to work for everything. And speaking of finding a way, that dropped catch, can't forget that.
Ah, yes. Porel dropping Krunal.
Yeah, in the 16th over. RCB still needed 40 off 25 balls then.
Yeah.
Krunal going strong. You just cannot afford drops like that in tight games.
Oh, absolutely killer. How costly do you think that was?
Potentially match losing for DC. It just released all the pressure that might have been building. A huge let-off for RCB.
So even though Kohli got out eventually with about 18 needed off 13.
Yeah, Correa broke the stand finally.
Yeah.
But the damage was kind of done, and the required rate was manageable.
And Tim David came in and just finished it?
Pretty much, yeah. Made short work of it. The report mentions Mukesh Kumar missing his Yorkers in that second-to-last over.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, a couple of full tosses, or low full tosses punished. David went 6-4, 4-4, I think. Game over. Just like that, with 9 balls left.
Wow. Quick finish after a long struggle. Okay, so pulling it all together, key takeaways from this RCB win.
Well, first and foremost, Krunal Pandya.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Brilliant with the ball in the middle overs, then that match-winning knock. Proper all-around performance.
Couldn't agree more. And RCB's bowling unit as a whole, actually. That discipline, especially from the spinners in the middle, that really set the stage, didn't it?
It really did. They built pressure consistently.
On the flip side, DC, they'll be looking at that middle phase of their batting, surely. Couldn't build on the start, couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, that sluggish period, it just cost them too many potential runs, you feel.
Yeah.
It's an area they might need to look at.
And those key wickets we talked about, Hazelwood getting Axar, Boovy getting Rahul, huge moment.
Absolutely massive. Plus, you have to mention the dropped catch again. It just looms large in a close result like this.
It really does. It's also interesting, like you said, the way the two innings finished so differently. DC kind of petered out despite Stubbs hitting, while RCB accelerated perfectly after that slow rebuild.
Shows the importance of pacing in innings, adapting to conditions. It wasn't just about brute force on that pitch. It was about smarts, about finding a way.
So wrapping up then, RCB overcame that early wobble. They bowled smartly, got crucial breakthroughs, and rode an exceptional Krunal Pandya performance to get a really vital 2 points. Takes them top, as we said.
Yep. And for you listening, hopefully digging into these details, the ebb and flow, how players adapted, the turning points like the dropped catch gives you a much richer picture than just, seeing the final result pop up.
Absolutely. It's the how and why behind the scoreline. Now, a final thought to leave you with. What does this win, this gritty, hard-fought win, signal for RCB's momentum this season? Does it build belief?
Could do. Winning ugly is sometimes more valuable than winning easily.
And for DC, is that middle order slowdown a one-off, or is it a pattern they need to fix quickly? Plus, maybe think about the long-term psychological boost for RCB, snatching a win like this from a tricky spot early in the tournament. Something to ponder as IPL 2025 rolls on.